कुणाल जी। कुणाल जी। through application of enabling technologies, and two, to develop partnership for developing and applying S&T-based solutions. GIST Meet would encompass deliberations and presentations in 4 technical sessions by 17 experts in the area of agriculture, water, AI applications, healthcare, education, skilling for better employability. It will encompass an open interactive session where diaspora and their Indian counterparts would share their collaboration experiences and recommendations for implementation. Government representative would share the government policies and initiatives for strengthening and implementing these collaborations. Also, we would have poster and exhibition presentations, which will present several successful projects and the projects that require collaborations. Keynote addresses are also being planned, which will be delivered by some of our most eminent scientists and experts. To name them, Dr. Vijay Raghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Dr. A.K. Saraswat, Member Niti Ayog, Dr. Anil Kaporkar, former Secretary DAE and Chairman AEC, and Dr. Raghunath Anand Mashelkar Arun, former DG CSIR. I'm very happy to share that about 350 participants are attending this meet. They represent diverse domains and a large diversity of countries, including USA, UK, Qatar, Angola, Australia, and Switzerland. With these words, I once again welcome all the dignitaries and participants to this event and request Dr. Shekhar Simande, Secretary, DSIR and DG CSR, to kindly make opening remarks. Please, sir.
Thank you, Rama. Honorable Minister, Science and Technology, Earth Sciences, Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Harshvardhan ji, National President, Vigyan Bharati, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar ji, National Organizing Secretary, Vigyan Bharati, Shri Jayan Sasrabuddhe ji, Dr. Yaluji Rao, all the friends and colleagues who have joined from India and abroad in this GIST meeting at the 6th India International Science Festival 2020. I once again welcome all of you to the Global Indian Scientists and Technocrats GIST meeting. We all recognize that science and technology are the key drivers for empowering nations and mankind at large. Scientific interventions ensuring technologies that enable sustainable development and enhance human capabilities are of pertinent importance. This has been proven time and again. Those of us who joined us for the Honorable Prime Minister's address this evening, he made this point very emphatically that science and technology is the key driver of any society. India has the wealth of a widespread diaspora who can play a major role in catalyzing growth in India. Scientific diaspora significantly contributes both internationalization of science and technology development and boosting countries' technology intensity. The diaspora has significantly contributed in forging development of Indian IT and biotech industry. There is an enormous potential untapped in connecting and engaging with the Indian scientific diaspora, not only for the benefit of our national development, but also for the central themes of IISF 2020. As Rama indicated, GIST Meet would serve as a collaborative platform and would provide opportunity to deliberate on various topics and projects with focus on empowering rural India. Government is making concerted effort to connect with the global Indian S&T community and to encourage their participation in S&T programs in India. Some of you would have joined the Vaibhav meeting that the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, also referred to in his talk today. And the Vaibhav meeting happened over a period of about 30 days in October. I'm delighted to inform that as a consequence or a fallout of Vaibhav meeting recommendations, CSIR, together with other central scientific ministries, departments such as DST, DBT, Ministry of Earth Sciences, ICMR, ICAR, DRDO, Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Space, and the Ministry of External Affairs has created a one-stop scientific connect for the diaspora through an initiative called Prabhas. Pravasi Bhartiya Academic and Scientific Sampak. The Pravas portal was launched sometimes during the Vaibhav platform, and many Indian diaspora have already registered on Prabhas. They are also participating in various scientific discussions that are happening right now and brainstorming sessions that are being organized regularly. These interactions have culminated into several rounds of collaborations to work towards accelerating development of life-saving preventions, treatment, management tools, and solutions against most of the threatening diseases, green manufacturing, sustainability, and waste management. Prabhas is now planning to organize web lectures and talks by our eminent diaspora through which they can share the experience and expertise. Such links would help widen the connect. With these thoughts, I welcome all of you once again to the GIST meeting. Especially, it's a pleasure and privilege for us to welcome Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Earth Sciences and Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Harshvardhan ji, into the GIST platform. I wish all of you a very fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging words and for the opening remarks. May I now request Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, Chancellor Nalanda University and President Vijnana Bharati, to kindly deliver the inaugural address. Kindly, sir.
Honorable Dr. Harshvardhan, our Honorable, I think he's been the prime visionary and also driving this IISF. I remember his speech as we were preparing for the IISF, and he wanted IISF to be an event. I think, in spite of challenges, in spite of impossibilities, he wanted it to be really an event to be remembered. In the context of GIST, Global Indian Scientists and Technocrats Meet, I think we have been dreaming. Gyan Bharati has been dreaming. Of course, all the scientific departments, scientists of India, dreaming for a wide collaboration across the Indian diaspora, which exists all over the world, particularly in the, I think we see almost all over the world now. And our students, I think somebody has rightly said, many universities will cease to exist if our students don't go to the international universities in the US, and I think we are providing, I think there are a lot of students, and in turn, of course, they are contributing to the advancement of science and technology. So I think this GIST, in the context of the pandemic, is providing an opportunity which was not there. I think it's a big challenge, but opportunity that was not there. I think this GIST, which is occurring in the context of IISF, the 6th edition, I think would not have occurred but for that, but for the challenge of that pandemic, and we are interacting with each other. Particularly, I think if you really look at the GIST meet now, I think scientists across Indians across the continents, and of course across the countries and across many labs, I think are participating in this. And this is I think Dr. Jayendra Sastubudde will agree that we have been dreaming about it, that this kind of interaction must occur, it should occur, and there's so much to, there are so many challenges one side, and there are so much to be done. Particularly when I think we have set up one of the largest infrastructure for scientific and technological development in terms of range of labs, our CSR chain of labs, one of the largest in the world. There are so many CSR UK, CSR South Africa, CSR in the Australia, but India CSR is one of the largest chain of labs. I think similarly, the labs that have sprung up in the DBT context, in the context of course, we had a whole chain of DRDO laboratories facing many challenges in the area of defense. I remember in my own Ministry of Information Technology, I think MIT, I think we have a chain of labs which are all named as CDAC. There are 10 labs. When I started, I was the only person, and we see them, and they are collaborating across the world. What information technology, for example, has accomplished, I think was not impossible without that collaboration. Many of our scientists had gone years back to the US and to Europe and other countries, Australia, this and nothing, and they were nurtured there. They started their own companies. Many of them founded things like that. And India has accomplished, I think, great heights in the field of information technology, and through that collaboration. Today, the scientists are coming back, collaborating. They have Indian counterparts, and they are collaborating across. And many of them now springing up as the entrepreneurs, innovative entrepreneurs. So the technologies are from the chip level to the system software or the software levels are coming out through this collaboration. So I think through these interactions all over the world, and this offers an opportunity. Now, perhaps we would have never been able to come together for a conference, for a physical conference. I think, but now that we are interacting through this video conference, and in the process, video conferencing technology has really upgraded itself. I think it offers so many possibilities that we are able to interact. I would just say, since there is very little time, I think this is a great opportunity. I think Honorable Minister who really piloted and I think architected and envisioned this possibility. And now that new Pravas platform has been created and is an enabler in which this interaction can take place, which has not been able to take because of so many bureaucratic hurdles. There are so many other hurdles that which can now take place. See, today the IT professionals are spread across continents, but they are collaborating together. They are Indians. They are collaborating. They are developing very complex softwares. They are providing solutions to the Fortune 500 companies. And a similar thing has to extend to, of course, research and development, which large part of it is, of course, the intellectual game itself, the R&D, research and advancement. I would just say that now GIST can really flower now. Whenever we are challenged, we came out with the new ideas, and I think we have seen in the different programs. And now in this pandemic challenge, we can come out with really creating, I think, an advances in science and technology that we have never seen before. I would only say that it's the time now to create collaboratories, laboratory here. I think we have a large number of labs now. And the labs in different parts of the world, in Korea, in Japan, in different parts of the world, and of course in the US and Europe. And they have the equipment. We may not have that kind of advanced equipment. We have the manpower. We have I think, so all that can come together. Software solutions, they can come together to create solutions which have not been possible here. So I would just make that we have to make an enabler for creating collaboratories, and just we have posed so many challenges. I think thanks to Jayant Rao and many other people who are posing that these are the challenges for a country like India, which applies to all developing countries, many developing countries, which we can solve together. I think today, I think I will just say it with, it's no more now in nations competing with each other. They have to collaborate together. This pandemic has shown that there are problems of climate change before us. The climate change cannot be solved by one nation or one society or one laboratory like that. We must collaborate together because the solutions and the challenges which spring up from all parts of the world. So I think I would say that is a very important framework, and we are making a very good beginning. I think good beginning today, which I'm seeing, and I'm very personal, very happy that we are talking to each other and create collaboratories, create collaborations with our Honorable Prime Minister talked about in his speech just a few hours back, and wish you all the best. Thank you, Dr. L.O.G. Rao Miraskar, who has taken a lot of initiatives since we met in Pune, and the interaction gone forward to create this GIST meet with several presentations which will provide new solutions to us. And I'm, of course, grateful to Honorable Minister Dr. Mande, I think what he talked about, and all scientific secretaries who are present for this thing, who can come out with new approaches for solving the global problems. And that's what we are talking, global welfare. It is not Atmanirbhar, but global, for global society. And that is a very, I think, a word of our civilization and culture. I'm grateful and welcome you for this meet. Thank you.
Here. Rama, you're mute.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind and encouraging words and for your continued support to our endeavors to connect with the global S&T community. With your support, we will continue this mission, this Muhim, and definitely will be more connected and connected for all kind of research and other linkages. Thank you, sir, once again. It is now my proud privilege and honor to request our chief guest, Dr. Vardhan ji, Honorable Union Minister for Science and Technology, Earth Sciences and Health and Family Welfare. Sir, kindly deliver your address for our benefit. Please.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my friends and colleagues from all parts of the world. Shri Vijay Bhatkar ji, Dr. Shekhar Mande ji, all our senior officials of the Science and Technology Ministry, Dr. Rao, all other distinguished people. I feel privileged to be with you this evening. I know in some parts of the world it's a morning and many of you have to get up very early to be part of this session. So my real gratitude to all of you for being part of this very important global Indian scientists and technocrats meet. So starting with my greetings to all the distinguished speakers who have gathered today at this virtual meeting of the global Indian scientists and technocrats. Esteemed members of the Indian diaspora, science enthusiasts from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, India is blessed with a large and vibrant scientific diaspora which is spread across the globe. They have all made individually and collectively outstanding contribution to the progress of countries where they reside. I am proud and pleased to acknowledge that members of our diaspora hold extraordinary leadership positions in academia, industry, and government in some of the most technologically advanced countries. There is enormous untapped potential in connecting and engaging with the Indian scientific diaspora, not only for the benefit of our national development, but also for global good. I am delighted to note the enthusiasm among members of our diaspora for sharing their knowledge and experiences for accelerating the pace of development in India. Led by our dear Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India has laid out the red carpet for its diaspora. You can all connect India to emerging technologies, share your rich expertise, and help incorporate best practices to further strengthen a thriving and enabling science ecosystem in your home country. The Global Indian Scientists and Technocrats Meet is not new. It is being organized for the last 4 years as part of the India International Science Festival to provide a platform for harnessing this wealth for augmenting national progress. All of us are well aware that science and technology are the key drivers for empowering nations and mankind at large. Scientific inventions that enhance human capabilities and help in improving the quality of life are of particular importance. Many of the challenges that the world is facing today, from climate change, food security, energy, to poverty reduction, can be effectively addressed only through science and technology. No country can address these challenges in isolation. Such challenges need to be addressed through cooperation particularly seamless scientific and technological cooperation. In the last 1 year, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted each and every aspect of our life. There is not a single country that has been left unaffected by this unprecedented crisis. I take pride in saying Indian scientists rose to the challenge and tackled all aspects of COVID-19. They made phenomenal contribution in a record time to combat the pandemic. These included understanding the virus and its spread, developing cost-effective diagnostic kits, PPEs, drugs, medical equipment, to name a few. Our Indian Council of Medical Research raced to isolate the virus and paved the way for vaccine development in record time. The indigenously developed vaccine candidates have now entered the third phase of human trials. In what is a matter of pride, India has developed as not just the pharmacy of the world, but is slated to soon be the vaccine manufacturer for the entire world. India is home to the ancient wisdom of yoga and Ayurveda. The Ministry of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Ayush have been working together to harness traditional knowledge for establishing efficacy of Ayush drugs for prophylactic and therapeutic management of COVID-19. The pandemic has brought to light many other challenges that countries may face in case of an unprecedented situation like the current pandemic. Restrictions on trade and travel adversely affected supply chains and logistics. Despite these shortcomings, the Indian scientific community rose to the occasion and delivered quick, innovative solutions. Turning this crisis into an opportunity, the country under the able leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji embarked on a mission to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant, but not self-centered, as India is committed to contribute to global welfare. India has taken the lead in developing the regional enabler for Southeast Asia Research Collaboration for Health platform with support of 10 countries and the World Health Organization to deal with cross-border infections and tackle emerging and re-emerging infections. Our diaspora must also echo India's contributions and commitment towards global progress. With an aim to benefiting from the expertise of the highly skilled Indian diaspora, we had recently held extensive policy consultations with them and invited their suggestions regarding the new science, technology, and innovation policy currently under formulation. We are working enthusiastically towards converting the brain drain into brain gain. Several government policies and initiatives have been launched to connect the global science and technology community with India. A month-long Vaibhav Summit was also organized in October by DRDO in close coordination with other ministries of the Government of India. It was indeed a pleasure to note the overwhelming response and participation of experts from various fields who deliberated on various topics and priority areas aligned with national missions for India's growth and development. Through these deliberations, several mechanisms and policies are being formulated. In order to institutionalize engagement mechanisms with our diaspora, we have recently launched an interactive national digital platform named Pravasi Bhartiya Academic and Scientific Sampark, or Prabhas. This portal is accessible to science and technology professionals both from India as well as abroad, enabling them to engage effectively for coming up with innovative solutions to address societal challenges. It's a delight to see the platform being put to good use with active engagement between members, paving the way for enhanced collaboration. The global Indian science and technology community can contribute in India's development in several ways. A key step would be partnering with research and academic institutions to address specific societal challenges, particularly for the benefit of rural India. It is indeed heartening to note that among other important deliberations lined up at this meet, there is one that seeks to empower the rural masses through the application of enabling technologies, thereby contributing to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Another important area being discussed is the application of advanced technologies for imparting education and skilling for better employability. I feel that this is an area where the diaspora can make immense contribution. Science and technology have had a profound impact in India is farming and agriculture. In this context, the Ministry of Earth Sciences, in collaboration with the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, provides the agromet advisory services to farmers in India. Farmers make use of these services for planning operations like sowing, irrigation, application of fertilizer and pesticide, harvest and protection of crops from weather disasters, and have greatly benefited. The government is taking up many such activities, and these are areas which are ripe and where the diaspora, with their significant technological knowledge and commitment, can contribute towards development of India. I congratulate all of you who have actively participated in the GIST meeting today. I would like to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to address this learned audience and urge you to continue your engagement with Indian scientists beyond this meeting as well. My government desires that you all remain an integral part of your motherland, India, and work towards turning India into a superpower, an Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is all set to attain its goal of becoming the Vishwa Guru. Many thanks, all of you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you so much for your enlightening address, sir. We are indeed very grateful to you for your continued support and kind guidance. We assure you, sir, under your guidance, we would work towards meeting our national priorities and would definitely achieve greater heights. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure now to invite Shri Jayant Sahasrabuddhe-ji, National Organizing Secretary, Vijnana Bharati, to kindly deliver a special address. Kindly, sir.
Namaste. Honorable Union Minister Dr. Harshavardhan ji, National President of Vigyan Bharati Dr. Vijay ji Bhatkar, Director General of CSIR Dr. Shekhar ji Mande, my friend and colleague in America Dr. Yaloji Rao, and many others who have joined this meeting from different parts of the world. To all of you, I extend my greeting at the outset. It's a great pleasure for me to be a part of this August gathering. As Dr. Harshavardhanji has rightly mentioned, that GIST is essentially a kind of brain gain activity. Through this platform, we are going to provide opportunity for our own people who have spread across the globe to contribute to the development of their motherland and regain the glory of this motherland. So I think, as it has been mentioned already, that regularly GIST has been a part of last 4 IISF, and I think through IISF, this activity is going to get a great leap in the future. So I extend all my best wishes to this platform, and I am very much confident that in near future, this GIST activity will gain momentum throughout the world, and it will be able to connect the people of our own country in the process of development of their own motherland. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and for your continued support and guidance. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Yeloji Rao Mirajkar, convener Global Indian Scientists and Technocrats USA, who has been trying to make his best efforts to connect the diaspora with their Indian counterparts. Dr. Yeloji Rao Mirajkar, kindly.
Thank you, Dr. Rama. What a good beginning. It's just simply amazing. Let me start with Dr. Shekhar Mande. He will be surprised when I say Dr. Shekhar Mande because we grew together at Tata Institute. Thank you very much for summing up the outcome of the month-long efforts through Vaibhav Summit as well as many other activities. The outcome is Prabhas. What a great news for the diaspora. Thank you for that. Dr. Bhatkarji, I can go through your points, but one of the things that take-home message for me and for all of the diaspora is that in today's world, there is no time for fighting amongst the nation. There's no time for disputing among the things from different nations. The only choice that we are left is for collaboration. And that too, a collaboration that can lead to success. And thank you very much for bringing that into our attention. Now I will move to Jayantaji before coming to our minister. Jayantaji, you have been extremely supportive of the effort that is happening outside Bharat, and it is your guidance. And we are committed, and we will see how we will move forward. And the program is here. And through this program, I believe those who have joined from outside Bharat, as well as who believe in the efforts of GIST, will see the fruits coming in due course. Now about the contents, what our Honorable Minister Dr. Harshavardhanji mentioned, that it is very easy for everyone to say, in this scenario, every one of you have talked about the effort that is ongoing in Bharat. And it is purely because the initiative of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, supported by very efficient, effective people like you all, and your support. Together, you are supporting the community, the scientific and technology community. Supporting is a very simple word, but not just saying support, but providing appropriate resources. Not just providing resources, but interacting with them, talking to them on a frequent basis, and trying to take this to fulfill the task. So with those few points, I would like to thank you, all of you, and I also thank all the participants who joined this session. And with these words, now the session will be transitioning into the first session. And the chair for the first session is our Professor Sheshanath Rai. A couple of words about him. He is a fellow American Statistical Association. He's a professor at the Department of Bioinformatics and Biostatics, University of Louisville, Kentucky. He's director, he's executive member in many other disciplines. If I start reading, it will take another 2, 3, 4 minutes, but I will stop here and hand over the platform to Professor Sheshanath Rai. Professor Rai.
Thank you so much, Yaloji, for the kind introduction. Adharaniya brothers and sisters, Yathachit, Pranam and Namaste. We are delighted to have you in the first session. This session is about bringing advanced technology to agriculture. We have 6 speakers and a panelist related to artificial intelligence, sustainable environment, and increasing yield. It is my honor to introduce our session moderator, Dr. Saroj Barik. He is the director of National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. He is a very established scientist in almost in every field of agri-biotech. In addition to that, he is coming from a challenging background from Baleshwar, Odisha, to be elected to a fellow recently among the many prestigious achievements. So it's so nice that he has kindly agreed to lead us. Also, just a few minor things actually before I pass on to the Sarojji. I visited last year and attended the same session live. The love and affection that we get from whether it's Janji, there's so many other people out there, that touches our heart as if we never left Bharat actually. We never left Bharat. So for our Matribhumi, the love of all the speakers in our panel, we have the same amount of love and affections to it. So it's good to bringing everybody together to advance the Bharat. And we are so proud to be part of it. And the way the respect you all give us, it's so pleasing and so satisfying actually. So Sarojji, you lead the session.
Namaskar sabko, and good evening here and good morning in US. Respected all the dignitaries, including Professor Bhatkar and our DG Saab and all our friends from abroad. Let me start because we are time bound. So without much introduction, thank you for introducing me, Sheshanath ji, so nicely. And we have the professor, Dr. Arni Rao, who is the professor and director, Laboratory for Mathematical Modeling, Medical College of Georgia, Augusta University. So he is also with us as a panelist. But we will now, as Sheshanath ji said, कि हम लोगों का पास 6 speakers हैं आज, and all of them are great leaders in their field. And my pleasure is to invite Sri Prafulla Krishna, जो कि CEO कोशेर सैन फ्रांसिस्को से हैं, और उनका बारे में मैं 2 शब्द बोलूं. Prafulla Krishna ji is the founder and CEO of Kosher, a company working at the bleeding edge of artificial intelligence and natural language processing. Earlier, he was the turnaround CEO of mobile commerce company and an activist investor with $15 billion US fund. He is an alumni of McKinsey, Harvard, and IIT Bombay. Dr. Prafulla is active in the AI conference circuit. He is a regular publisher and has partnered with Udacity and others for AI-related courses. He is originally from Varanasi but lives in San Francisco. So I invite Dr. Prafulla Krishna ji, please, for your presentation.
Thank you, Sarojji. Namaskar to everyone. I'm going to share my screen. अगर कोई technical problem है, please बताइए. I'm going to talk about making India an AI giant, right? India ke baare mein, everyone talks about how it is an IT giant, but I'm saying that the AI opportunity is even more powerful. It's even more significant. So if you think about it, AI, sometimes people say is that just a part of what IT is, but actually this is a lot more. So Saruji, you have already introduced me, but I will just add a few things. What I do is that, and I run this company called Cossier, which is based in both India and US, and I work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. I continuously publish with leading publications. As I said, I've been teaching at Udacity. And the point of all this, besides hubris, is that when I say what I'm about to say, it's coming from the forefront of AI knowledge and AI applications. So, okay, what am I saying? I'm saying that AI can create 50 million jobs in India. I'm saying that AI can add to Indian GDP growth by up to 2%. And even before COVID started, this was a concern, right? GDP growth was kind of slowing down, and employment has always been a persistent concern. We are a young country. We need jobs, and we need opportunities for our youth to flourish. And AI is one of the ways we can do it, and one of the many ways, of course. I also think AI is critical for India's geopolitical ambitions and strategic leadership. If anyone noticed the war recently fought between Armenia and Azerbaijan, I think it was very clear that these are relatively insignificant countries in the global scenario. But what was very clear from that war fought recently is that future is not only kind of human in terms of military and strategic options. Technology plays a good part. And the fourth thing is saying that AI can be a great conduit for good governance. You can call it Ramraj, you can call it Swaraj, aapka political affiliation jo bhi ho. But even in this panel and the rest of the conference, you will see multiple ideas of implementing AI for the good of the citizen, for the good of the for connecting the citizen with the bureaucracy, right? Connecting the ruled and the rulers in a very seamless way. And it's already possible to do all that. I would also caution that, given where the world is, if we don't capture on this opportunity, then we may set our ambitions back by decades. So, people say, kya fake raha hai, right? I mean, these are very bold claims. And why do I feel confident that India can actually do it? So here are a few reasons, right? So even before India has any concerted effort going on in field of AI, I know there's an Niti Aayog strategy and a lot of things are happening, but still it's early day. India is one of the top three origin of top tier AI researchers. Europe ko hata dijiye, there's multiple countries. If you take the elite researchers, people who are actually changing the way AI is being managed in the world, then India is actually second after US. Stanford did a study, which country is very ready for AI? They call it vibrancy score. Again, top three. LinkedIn did a study that, okay, which country's professional workforce or the white collar workforce is ready for AI? Again, top three. If you talk about the papers, again, top three. And, a lot of time, this is just kind of myth floating around Indian professors who could be chapte hain. But if you control for quality, again amongst the top. So the point is that, yes, we are competing with the two big names out there. You can see it's most of these, in most of these charts, it's US and China. But I think AI does give us the opportunity to just leapfrog, because all this has happened even before we have a concerted effort towards, we have come together and built a kind of a coalition to achieve in AI. And it's just showing, right? It's showing also. So if there are about 1,200 companies, or more than that, the 1,200 big companies who have major engineering centers in India. But if you pick the top 50 AI companies, the companies that are literally shaping what AI looks like or what AI feels like for the whole world, again, 60% of them also have engineering centers in India. Mera kaam hai, I talk to these companies to kind of do something for them, to work with them and make solutions. My conversations may start in San Francisco, New York, Boston, whatever, but they end up in Bangalore or a Delhi or a Bombay, right? And so we are already being recognized as an AI power. we are already integrated in the global ecosystem. We are already shining, and we are already amongst the top 3 with US and China. We just need to push the pedal on this and actually capture leadership over here. The IT success story is, of course, a precursor, right? I mean, it has created about 4 million direct, 12 billion indirect jobs, and it's contributed about 0.6% in GDP. I will not go through all the stats. There's something else that has been happening in parallel. If you look at the key enablers of IT or AI, right? They have all these numbers have gone through the roof. Electricity, particularly rural areas, phone access, internet population. So the point is that India is much more ready than it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago when the IT revolution started. And also this time, it will not be just centered in Bangalore or Hyderabad. That's how IT started, right? Bangalore was the epicenter, and then Hyderabad came, and then Delhi, Bombay, and then kind of spread down. This time, we are ready to just kind of get on it all across the country. Now, and still, these are bold claims, right? 50 million jobs and this and that. So I am often asked, and I publish around this a lot. I keep, and this is obviously a huge topic, but let me give you a sense of where I came to, where I got this number 50 from. So, and I'll try to do it in a minute because that's all I have. IT we already achieved 4.4 million direct jobs, right? So let's make that a baseline. Now, the same approaches will not work, and our IT companies are facing that problem already. But there are approaches to make it work and go to that baseline easily. AI has the beauty that it doesn't have to be engineering only. IT so far has been very engineering oriented, but in AI, for every engineering role, you can actually create about 2 non-engineering roles also. And earlier, some of them were being created outside for IT particularly, but India is ready to take the whole ecosystem and actually create many more jobs and not necessarily engineering jobs for AI. Similarly, India has a huge potential. It's ready. It's just like it's spent 30 years to get to this point. It's ready for local solution and vernacular products. Right? So, and this is where sorry, I got distracted. This is where the rural involvement will come in. This is where the good governance will come in, right? So all these products are going to be made and built within India for India and other countries. And then the job multiplier, right? The job multiplier is essentially for every IT roles, how many non-IT roles, or every AI role, how many non-AI roles are created. This number is actually going to be much higher than 3 for AI. The reason being that I think the AI ecosystem will be much more inclusive. But the 3 is a number for IT. It's 2.8 actually. And if you do that math, that's how you get to 50 million jobs. I know it's a very abbreviated presentation, but I just wanted to introduce this idea. And please, I don't know what the format is. I'm happy to invite questions, or just follow me on any of these social media, and you can just reach out to me to talk more about this approach. Thank you.
Sasnath ji, हम लोग अभी we can ask for some questions from the audience. Some time is there.
Yeah, we can ask if 1 or 2 questions if somebody has it.
Also, you can put your questions in the question and answer or chat box. We can also take it those questions in the latter part of the session. Or if it will be better, if you can write down now also, or directly you can ask.
Can we take it in the latter part of the session?
Fine, I think we'll do that.
Because there is not yet the questions are in the question answer on the specific topic, as well no hand raised.
प्रफुल्ल जी, थैंक यू सो मच. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको. आपने जो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को इंडिया के लिए जो प्रोस्पेक्ट्स आपने दिखाए, आई थिंक हमारा जो particularly जो youths है, they will be inspired, and I'm sure your dream will come true very soon. Thank you so much for your participation and excellent talk. अभी मैं लोकेंद्र चौहान जी को आमंत्रण करूंगा. हमारा श्री लोकेंद्र चौहान जी, जो कि maps for rural development using artificial intelligence. So उस पर talk देंगे. And he is Lokendra Chauhan Saab is a startup and technology policy enthusiast. He is basically from Chittorgarh of Rajasthan. So, and currently based in Minneapolis in the US. He is a graduate of IIT Bombay and Georgia Technology Institute, and the key employers he has worked with include IIT Bombay, International Finance Corporation, Grassroots Business Fund, and the Quarter Foundation. Lokendra ji invests and advises startups and social enterprises, commercializing research, primarily artificial intelligence. He is a technology and AI policy work who has authored Qatar's national AI strategy and written AI policy white papers for prominent clients, and is currently commercializing satellite data analysis technologies from MIT through his new venture QEN.ai. So has a glorious career, and he is proud. He is our proud representative from India. So I invite Lokendra ji to present his lecture, please.
Thank you so much, Saroj-ji. And thank you everyone for giving me time to listen to what I want to say. As I said, hi everyone, I'm Lokendra Chauhan from Ken.ai. It's a mission-driven startup based in Minneapolis in the US. I have been fortunate that I got to study at IIT Bombay and Georgia Tech, as Saroj-ji mentioned. My education gave me access to some interesting opportunities for learning across my career, and it still keeps doing so, apparently. So, my first job was one of the proud accomplishment was to work towards setting up the Sign Business Incubator at IIT Bombay, which is a well-known business incubator now. Later, I worked as a part of the team which set up Impact VC fund called Grassroots Business Fund in Washington, D.C. Then N Dimensions, a unique development consulting firm where I got a chance to work with many reputed non-profits and grassroots politicians in India, because we were based in Gurgaon back then. After that, I moved to Qatar in the Middle East and worked towards setting up research commercialization programs and policies. And later, there's the evolution of that in the last few years, as AI has grown in prominence. I've worked on important AI policy projects in Qatar and elsewhere, and I can talk about those later. Anyway, so right now, my presentation today is about how we how we use AI to build better maps and geospatial AI applications. Now, we looked at how geospatial applications are useful, and we found that these are of very critical importance for measuring progress towards United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for countries like India and any other developing country around the globe. In fact, so 14 out of 17 SDGs, we can measure indicators or risks associated using geospatial data analysis. So we picked up this particular space. Now, I'll start with a specific SDG indicator. It's called 9.11. It's called Rural Access Index. Right, measures the share of a place, country, is rural population that lives within 2 kilometers of an all-season road. And that's a very important metric they want to measure, because 2 kilometers is considered a walkable distance. So if you are 2 kilometers from a school, it's a half an hour walk or health center. So that's why they chose that. Now, it is based on the premise that transport connectivity is vital for sustained growth in rural areas. And in fact, limited transport connectivity is also critical constraint to accessing social and administrative services. Now, therefore, rural access has been defined as a key to realizing the potential of rural economies and eradicating poverty there. Now, what you see in this slide, that two Pareto curves for a place that I'm not at the liberty to name right now, but it shows the number of existing facilities they have. And when they use government recorded maps, they found that only 58% of the population there was living within the walking distance from those health facilities. But when you use slightly more accurate maps from OpenStreetMaps, the figure rises to 75%. Now, so right now we are working currently with the World Bank team there to increase the accuracy of maps further, and so that we can have a proper baseline. And after that, the next stage is to work on optimizing the budget allocations for infrastructure by determining best locations for new health facilities and new roads. So that's how you can use geospatial data analysis in the context of rural development. Now, so here's a quick overview of what we do. We combine satellite imagery and AI algorithms with ground truth, usually obtained through locals validating the AI inference we provide. And then we provide insights that can be used by local governments for administrative and planning purposes. Now, our process starts with satellite images on which we overlay existing maps like OSM or government records on top of these, and then our AI-based system is used to infer maps, make them better. And we have a system where we have reviewers who can fix any errors. And after that, you can add any number of layers based on the use case and requirements. Now, land records is a very big use case. We are in talks with a group of researchers from MIT on how. So they've developed some software layers for soil health data. So how do we include those into the system, or public health infrastructure and all those things which I already mentioned. Now, why our approach is better, or why what I'm trying to say, I just wanted to explain a little bit about that too. Now, so classical AI-based methods don't work efficiently on the map making problem. They work efficiently on identifying objects within in a satellite image, but map making is a slightly different, more complex thing. Now, first they look at each pixel and then determine the likelihood of it being a road or not. And such a result is called a raster output, which is not usable if you want to find the distance between 2 points, or you want to find a route. So they have to do a lot of rule-based post-processing to create usable vectorized road maps, and which is quite difficult to get right and requires a lot of manual effort, which is why we created a new set of algorithms that takes in satellite images and directly provides a vector output. Like in this video, you can see the demonstration of how one of our algorithm creates road network. Like first it uses GPS traces, like you can even use phones for that purpose, and then to identify main roads, and then we use another algorithm to go deeper and identify the smaller roads, etc. In fact, like quite often we can directly use the second algorithm because it can identify big roads too. But that's like one of the approaches. And we have worked on some other approaches on too. The other thing which we realized after doing this was due to many reasons, computers can't fully determine if all the observed road segments are road or not. I mean, they could be covered by trees, building shadows, over bridges and all, which is why we created this map editing software also that could be used by reviewers to look at road segments where computer isn't sure and decide if it is indeed a road or not. So our pitch is that this is the right time to get started on work on such applications of satellite imagery, and partly because the data is becoming cheaper and better every year, even though it means that in the beginning, often it seems like there could be big cost commitments and all, but that will not be the case in the future the way we see the trends. Now that I've shown you the promise of our work, I just wanted to show like why it is valuable also. Now, you can always say that if somebody already has a map, then you could, whether there's a tab or maybe if it's a physical map, why can't you just use a marker and fix it? Now, so that's like I just wanted to bring in different analogy. So I'm sure like most people would have played this game of spot the differences between two images. Now, it's quite fun, but would it be easy and fun the same way? Like if you have to go for 100 images or thousands of images or maybe even 1 million images. Now that's where computers come in. And once they learn like how to find an object, they can keep doing it forever without making the same mistakes again. That's why we are building a system that has a human in the loop and is in charge of decisions. Now, people have a lot of tacit and contextual knowledge that computers don't. So it is easier and better to let computers do all the majority of grunt work and let people, let fix computers' mistakes and take all judgment calls, which in turn improves the performance of the system also. So this is the kind of system we have developed, and I think this is. We are already doing pilots with World Bank in some countries. It would be great if we could get an opportunity to do something in India. Finally, like I just wanted. So here's like a list of other works with some of the MIT researchers and in fact, some of the researchers from Qatar are also involved, which we are working on. They are also Indian origin only, is just like AI researchers. So we started with the. Basically, we are trying to tackle different aspects of improving road maps. We started with road detection and then incorporating map editing and inferring road attributes. Now, our vision is to build AI systems that can automatically update maps and using latest satellite images and by seeking feedback from humans, reviewers whenever needed, without any coordination required. So it should all happen automatically. So wherever let's just say, you could say the way Uber kind of system is working. So, so that's the vision we have, and I think that's the end of my presentation. I'm open to any questions. So, if you have any referrals to talk later, etc. These are my. You can contact me through these different ways. That's it for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Lokendraji, for the nice talk, and it is really. Can we just unshare this presentation? It is an excellent presentation, and as we know that for the rural development, maps are the basis. In India, we do take up these activities, but I have a small query. Can you just say, for example, the software which you have developed, is it freely downloadable, or it could be what is how do we acquire it? Number one. Number two is, suppose in the rural development activities, our CSR itself, we take up several rural development activities. And as you know, the map is the basic thing first we have to do it, whether it is the integrated resource management or it is the introduction of a particular component in a particular area. Say, for example, we are now going to take up in Ladakh and Leh. So we want to have a completely integrated. So we have the NGRI where they will be taking up the groundwater survey and all. So how do you how can you help us in this type of activities? And although we have several remote sensing activities around, but can you say something a little bit more so that our people in the different organizations, they will be benefited?
Yeah, so okay, so it's not a downloadable software, but we are so right now we are doing the implementations directly, but plan is to be able to make a web-based application where things are being done through APIs and all, and also so right now we only have the algorithm, so we also need satellite imagery. Yeah, so there are, and it depends like what kind of resolution we are getting in the satellite imagery. So there are free sources which are from Landsat, etc., which are easier to get, but those are the resolution is often not good enough to be able to come up with the road network. So that's good enough if you want to do farm boundary detection to some extent, or land use planning, like how it's how the land use is actually happening and those kind of things. But if you want to create automatically generated maps, then a road network, that requires somewhat higher resolution. So that usually costs a bit, and that's beyond us. But yeah, we know that this prices for those are falling. So we often take, so that's something which either has to be provided by the government, whoever is the customer, or we can work, we already have tie-ups with, there's this company called Planet Labs and Maxar. They're the two important ones, and we work with them both. So I think that's the other thing which we can do. And once we have that, we can run algorithms, then and also engage the reviewers on the ground to make sure that the maps we suggest are accurate. And after that, adding more layers and all, you already know, I'm sure, like how we can add more layers and do more of the analysis. We also have experts for that. It's just like, and we can work with all kinds of experts. And I'm sure everybody has a lot of value to add on this.
Thank you so much. And now we have some questions. I will just quickly take up those. Abhilash Nandi, he asked, is the amount of annotated data enough for supervised learning? Again, I repeat the question, is the amount of annotated data enough for supervised learning?
So what we do is often, So there's this company of non-profit OpenStreetMaps. They have been creating a lot of free maps, and a lot of volunteers do that. So what we do is we take that as the first set of ground truth and try to train our data, and that works good enough. And after that, so that reduces the requirement of number of volunteers required. And after that, if you, let's say, if you're able to finish 80-85% of the work directly, then you're talking about volunteers required at a much smaller level. So that's there. And there also, because we can, the system is on an active learning based system. Basically, it learns from whatever feedback reviewers are providing. So you don't actually need 20% of the volunteers. I'm like, it's a much smaller number of volunteers or labeling work is required to make sure that we get the accurate maps.
Thank you.
Other thing is like the way the world is working is because the maps keep changing all the time, whether that's because of new construction, whether that's because of natural disasters, etc. So that's the new trend which is happening, and that's where and most of the satellite imagery people are also able to provide weekly images for almost every corner of the world these days. So so that's other thing, like looking at temporal aspects of how change is happening.
Thank you, Lokendra ji. Since we have some time still left, I will just take another question by Mr. Sudarshan T. Bhoyar. He asks, will it be possible to create farm-specific weather forecast, soil moisture, NDVI, etc. for Indian farms like EO, Land Viewer? Can we create ecosystem like PM Fasal Bima Yojana in this area? So this is the question from Mr. Sudarshan T. Bhoyar.
So again, at our end, we can do the map or maybe any kind of geospatial data analysis. But when you're talking about specific, at least, so we can always partner with organizations which can come up with forecasts, etc. Whether that's weather forecast, whether that's or if there's soil testing data available, we can overlay that, and then people can make conduct analysis and make their recommendations. But that's so we can work with such organizations. We don't ourselves do that.
Okay, I think that's a good. Maybe we should move on. Saroj, अब अगले पर चलें तो अच्छा रहेगा जो है, because we will have a lot more questions in the panel discussion.
Yeah,
I guess that's true.
So लोकेंद्र जी, thank you so much. बहुत अच्छा आपने बोले, एंड हम लोग आप जानते हैं कि इंडिया में भी हम लोग काफी आगे हैं, पर्टिकुलरली द इमेजरीज डाटा को यूज करके लैंड यूज मैप बनाना इंडिया में. सो आपका सहयोग से हम लोग उसको काफी इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, और हम लोग आपका सहयोग के लिए इंतजार करेंगे. हम लोग विल बी इन टच.
थैंक यू सो मच.
प्लीज आंसर योर प्रेजेंटेशन सो दैट मैं रविंद्र कौल साहब को आमंत्रण करूंगा.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'll just unshare it.
मैं ये प्रफुल्ल जी को बताऊं, प्रफुल्ल कृष्णन जी को, बहुत सारी क्वेश्चंस आपके लिए आए हैं. सो हम लोग इन द पैनल डिस्कशन सेशन में आपका क्वेश्चन लेंगे. बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हैं आपके लिए. सो रविंद्र जी, हमारा रविंद्र कौल साहब जो कि JNK से ओरिजिनली हैं और हमारा साथ उन्होंने जुड़े हुए हैं आज, और वो स्मार्ट AI, दैट इज द स्मार्ट एग्रीकल्चर चैलेंजेस, अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड आवर सॉल्यूशंस का पर आज उनका टॉक है. एंड उनका बारे में मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि वो काफी एक्सपीरियंस्ड साइंटिस्ट हैं, ओरिजिनली फिजिसिस्ट हैं. उसके बाद फिर उन्होंने MBA भी किए हैं, बहुत सारी एजुकेशन उन्होंने हासिल की है. अभी उन्होंने CEO एट भेगा मैक्स के कंपनी जिसमें कि ग्रेटर न्यूयॉर्क सिटी एरिया में है. इसके साथ उन्होंने ऑल्सो मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट गेटवे पार्टनर्स कंपनी में है. फैकल्टी मेंबर न्यूयॉर्क इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फाइनेंस में है. इनका तो बहुत सारी आइडेंटिटी है. मैं तो समहाउ मेरा पास इतना ज्यादा नहीं है, लेकिन मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा रविंद्र जी को थोड़ा सा अपना बारे में भी और 2 शब्द बताइए और आपका प्रेजेंटेशन शुरू करिएगा. रविंद्र जी प्लीज.
Can everyone see my the slide, please?
स्लाइड तो नहीं आया, लेकिन आप दिखाई दे रहे हैं, लेकिन स्लाइड नहीं आ रहा है.
स्लाइड नहीं आ रहा है, ये कैसे हो गया? How about now?
हमको तो नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है. ससनाथ जी आपके पास आ रहे हैं?
नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है.
अभी दिखाई दे रहा है?
नहीं,
नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है.
तो आपका स्लाइड्स डॉक्टर सरोज जी को भेज दीजिए।
वो मैंने स्लाइड तो पहले ही भेज दिया था, खैर।
अच्छा सरोज जी आपके पास, तो रन कीजिए स्लाइड्स में। तो
How about, can you see it now?
अभी ठीक है, it's okay now, it's coming.
ठीक है, प्लीज आगे बढ़िए। या आ गया।
Namaskar to everyone. Sorry for this initial confusion. I, on behalf of the Vegamax, would like to thank the organization of IISF for giving us the opportunity to present our solution to address the challenges of small-scale farmers, starting from pre-sowing through and through the post-harvest period. The Vegamax Incorporated is a data analytics and AI-based company working in the domain of food security, energy security, and national security, using Earth observing optical, radar, hyperspectral, and INSAR data for measuring, monitoring the ground changes, ground situations, and the weather situations. Changes in detail, and it looks for the changes in the details of the ground. The information gathered through this artificial intelligence is disseminated among the interested institutions and corporations to be used for these securities, these three pillars of the securities which I just mentioned. Okay. Now coming to this, my current presentation, the current presentation is focused primarily on the small scale, small agriculture farmers. India has about more than, I think, 50 million farmers actually who own the land, and some of the biggest challenges which he faces is primarily the information challenge. So I will divide this information challenge into three parts. First is from the pre-sowing time to the corresponding sowing time. Second is between the sowing period to the corresponding growth period. Third will be the harvest period, and fourth point actually starts right in the beginning, but that is connection to the financial institutions for the farmer. So the information, the challenge is in the first phase, which is the pre-sowing phase, is that farmer has to decide actually what crop to sow, and for that decision he needs information regarding how much soil moisture he has. He needs information about what is the onsetting weather pattern and when monsoons will be coming in. He needs information about the soil fertility maps, full detailed soil fertility maps of his farm, and he also needs information about when he is going to harvest that particular crop. What is the potential payback? That means what is the corresponding price he can get in the market. And lastly, but not the least, the most important thing is that he has to have access to the credit and financial markets in order to secure the loan for his activity. This is the first phase of the information challenge which farmer is facing. The second phase of the challenges which he has, that now he has to, once he has sown the crop, he needs to monitor this crop. That monitoring will need the corresponding, how much is the corresponding soil moisture, that continues to be soil moisture in the ground. He also needs to know how much of the nutrition is being taken up by the plant leaf. He also needs to know the corresponding stresses because of the pesticide or disease which the crop may have, and then and also he needs to know, and we need to be able to identify different crops he may have in his small farm. If majority of the farms in India are about an acre or acre and a half farm, and very often farmers grow more than one crop in the area, and therefore we should be able to identify these crops from through the satellite data. And the third portion is basically the around harvest time. He needs to know when what is the good harvest period, because quite a bit of damages which happen to the crop, fully grown, grown crops, is that disaster can strike if the farmer delays. The disaster can strike and he can lose a lot of complete crop in the process. He also needs to know, not only he, but also the corresponding corporation need to know how much yield his crop is going to, his field is going to produce, and and also what price he's going to be able to fetch if he sells it right at the time of harvest, or if he holds on to it, and how much price potentially he can fetch. He needs to know effectively the net balance of the profits which he can manage if he holds on to the crop. And
आपकी slide move नहीं कर रही है.
I should. Yes, I'm sorry. Actually, first 3 slides, Johanna. This is actually this right now. I am actually describing these challenges here and opportunities here.
Okay.
So this slide is actually everything which I am talking right now, which is not written here, but I'm explaining where this stress, these issues are coming. So far, I was explaining the challenges actually, and then I will be addressing the corresponding solutions which we offer in the process. And the last part of this, and which is actually one of the very problematic part in India, is a lot of the banks are hesitant in servicing the farmer. They see farmer as one of the most risky risk. And being risk averse, they don't want to lend to the farmer. Therefore, the potential component thing is that first of all, banks should have a rational basis of deciding whether to lend to a farmer or not. So for that, they need to know the corresponding the credit rating of the farmer and get some history of his credit rating. Now, the credit rating actually has 2 components. It is in it. This is actually part of the problem which I am mentioning. One is that his capacity to pay, and that his intent to pay. Intent to pay does not change from season to season, but the capacity to pay can change depending on what his financial condition is at the time of the harvest. And so we are able to measure and create the capacity to pay records. Even if we may not have it, basically of this farmer. And then another solution which we provide to the corresponding banks is that whatever they lend in agri sector, we will provide them mechanisms of making certain that they have minimum loss in those loans, so that it doesn't become an NPA. So that is basically these are challenges actually which the farmer is facing, and the banking institutions which are actually lending to the farmer, they are facing. So we have tried to address these challenges and basically try to get the use artificial intelligence based on the satellite images and the ground truthing data to address these issues. And I will now come to that. The solution which we provide actually is that we provide them crop yield prediction, crop classification and mapping through satellite observation, crop monitoring, soil moisture solutions, nutrients, pestilence, disaster risk management, insurance optimization, financial engineering and commodity trading expertise. These are basically our applications which are available for services. We normally, even though all the solutions are geared towards the farmer, however, most of these farmers will not be able to afford. So we work through FPOs, we work through insurance companies, we work through the banking industries, and we will work through the NGOs in order to address these issues. The advantage of this, so over here I have just mentioned that the benefits which is precisely basically he will be able to overcome the issues which I have just mentioned. Here, these are actually listed here, what the issues are and what corresponding benefits the farmer will get. Now, actually, I will give you some of the examples of some of the models which we have developed. So this is a crop yield model which we developed, and first we implemented in Kossuth County in Iowa. It classifies all the different corresponding crops in this Kossuth County, and then we looked at the corresponding what yield we would have gotten for these different crops if we would have used this model in the past. So we found that we can predict our forecast of the yield is within 99.5% of the USDA yield which USDA has given us. So it's a highly accurate model. It basically uses analytical tools along with the corresponding images, NDVI gets NDVI images from the freely available data. Actually, we have not used specialized data here, but that is also available with us. This is a map. Okay, then we created actually a soil moisture estimation map. First of all, the water stresses in US, and also applied it in Karnataka region. And we created a map of the soil moisture map of different regions in Karnataka and US. First attempt was so our first attempt was to do it for United States and created such a water stress map. And we did exactly the same thing for the corresponding Karnataka. And this is basically a sample of that. This is actually the infrared pictures of the stress crop. And here basically it shows under different wavelengths how does healthy crop spectra look like, and how the corresponding the stress crop looks like. We implemented actually the measurement of the nutrition in one of the it's called the energy cane in US, and with complete detailed map of the soil nutrition, which we had measured through hyperspectral images. We were able to actually the farmer were able to gain about $65 per hectare, the additional income and the savings, because it was a precision what's called fertilizer map. So they didn't have to take one sample and put the same amount of nutrition all over the field. This is an example of the leaf nutrition which we had created. It's called NMapper, and this was implemented actually in Australia because we could get this easily sample. Somebody worked with us there, and this is basically looks at the different nitrogen deficiency in different leaves, and then we can give the recommendation of how much of nitrogen is needed. Now this can be either through the organic fertilizers, or it can be through the inorganic fertilizers. This is another display of the temperature, humidity, pressure, etc., along at different regions based on satellite data and soil moisture data across India which we had carried out some time ago. Why us? The Vegamax is a company which is working with about 2 or 3 universities here. We work with Columbia University, we work with the WashU, and we can work with the Minnesota University. We have ongoing projects going on, for example, the identification of the different nutrients in the soil, and along with the carbon amount, actually organic material present in the soil, which is extremely important for the health of the soil and retention of the soil moisture. We use radar data basically to do the soil moisture maps. Then we have we have developed algorithm which the algorithm actually are not only for the agriculture but also for the weather as well as for the energy and the defense. Some of the problems are very similar to each other, except the corresponding resolution which is needed is different. But nevertheless, we have actually found algorithms actually which work in several different areas same time. Once the hyperspectral signature of the different crops, etc., is measured, with very little customization, it can be applied into different regions. And so one of the things which we have is that we start from the pre-sowing period, and or with the farmer to the post-harvest till he sells his crop. Once that crop is sold, and with the banks we work in order to structure the corresponding these loans, so that there are so that the difficulties are and the risk is removed, rather controlled. This is our contact. Actually, Vivek Mittal is our CEO, and I am Rabinder Kaul. And anybody who wants to contact us, he has my phone number. We have this email address here, And with that, I conclude my talk, and namaskar, everyone. If there are any questions, please do ask.
Dhanyavad, Ravinder ji. Thank you so much for explaining in details and showing the smart agriculture through the hyperspectral imageries, and it will be very useful. And yes, in India we have started using these, but I think with your in-depth knowledge we can add value to it. Thank you. So we'll take questions at the end of the all presentations. We'll have enough time, so at that time we'll ask the questions. Because many questions have come also. Many questions have come for you. We'll keep it reserved now for the panel discussion session. Thank you. Please answer. Please answer it. Thank you. Please answer. Now this is my pleasure to invite Dr. Bikram Patarkine, who is CEO of Peace USA, who will be talking on sustainable environment, eco-village, the way forward. I have the pleasure to introduce Dr. Bikram, who is a chemical environmental engineer with 3 decades of international experience covering consulting, R&D, technology development, manufacturing, and training. He has received US citizenship through recognition of extraordinary ability through sustained national and international acclaim. Dr. Bikram, in addition to his CEO of Peace USA, an independent consulting practice which is set up to provide environmental stewardship strategies and solutions to invest groups and clients around the world. Dr. Bikram has previously been the founding CTO of a renewable energy technology startup, senior vice president of an engineering consulting firm, and director of process engineering of an equipment manufacturing firm. So we are privileged to have Dr. Bikram. So please deliver your talk, Dr. Bikram.
Namaste, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Dr. Yelloji Rao, for inviting me here. I'm going to try to share my screen here. You should see the screen which says Sustainable Environment, Eco-Village, the way forward.
Yes, we can see. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So this is the presentation outline. I will try to make the presentation for about 7, 8, maximum 10 minutes, and then we will have 5 to 7 minutes for questions and answers. Why Eco-Village? I will talk about a different perspective about the situation in which we find ourselves today, discuss very briefly some fundamental principles, talk about assimilative capacity of the environment, how it is affected, nature's warning, and then give you an overview of the Eco-Village idea I have. So hopefully you will find this interesting. It's always difficult to give a presentation to a diverse group of audience where not everybody might be able to understand the language of each subject. So I'll try to keep it as generic as possible so that you can see what I'm saying. All right. So why Eco-Village? You see, in the last 150 to 200 years, through industrial revolution, we are urban clusters away from nature good for us? The current pandemic situation indicates it is not, because in the urban areas we have seen coronavirus pandemic in a much more severe fashion, whereas in the rural areas we have not seen that kind of severity. Why? Because we are closer to nature. So therefore, is this the time for us to rethink our development models? I think we should. We should work toward living in harmony with Mother Nature. Because fundamentally we are natural beings. We need to live close to Mother Nature. If we live away from Mother Nature, then we could face such situations like the current pandemic. Therefore, shall we look at reverse urbanization? इसे हम हिंदी में ग्रामीणीकरण कहेंगे. जैसे हमने शहरीकरण देखा है, उसका जो विरुद्ध है, उसे हम ग्रामीणीकरण कहेंगे. सो शहरों से लोग ग्रामों की ओर जाएंगे. How do we make that sustainable? Let's look at this. So look at the entire planet as one organism, अगर हम कहें कि ये पृथ्वी एक शरीर है, तो इस शरीर पर excessive human activity has become like a cancer, which has resulted in environmental degradation. Environmental degradation does not happen because of any other species. It happens because of human beings, Homo sapiens. Is that the planet's ailment? हमारा जो लोभ है, our greed, is that the real problem? Because we have been producing things beyond our needs for a long, long time. See, during this pandemic, we have been forced to consume and to produce only the essential things. And in the last 8-9 months, we have discovered, we have learned, and we have proven to ourselves that we can live on minimum things. So non-essential things have been stopped. Even without those non-essential things, we have been living happily. We have actually been healthier. So environmental quality has also improved. Our own health has also improved during these last 8 or 9 months. So why not continue like this? You see, fundamentally, nature exhibits perfect design. There are no mistakes. Organisms will appear in ecosystems suitable for them. So what we call as pathogens, they actually have a beneficial role in the environment of cleaning up the environment. Every organism is naturally programmed for survival and propagation. So the pathogen is going to go and find a situation or an environment suitable for its growth and propagation. What it does in the process, it cleans up that environment. And then both the pathogen and the impurity in our body that we had collected because of our wrong habits, both of those things are thrown away by the body. So the body has the natural ability to heal itself. In the same manner, the earth also has the ability to heal itself. And I personally look at this entire pandemic as the medicine Mother Earth has administered to itself to cure the disease called human greed. Healthy ecosystem will exhibit biodiversity and balance among species. That's a natural principle which we observe. If we are a keen student of ecological sciences, environmental engineering and environmental sciences, we will observe this. The environment has an ability to carry waste material without any adverse effects and in fact convert it into something useful. That is called the assimilative capacity. Now, whenever this assimilative capacity is exceeded, that's when pollution occurs, or that's when we say that that ecosystem is polluted. So our activities should never exceed the assimilative capacity of any environment or any ecosystem. Why has this happened? This has happened because the world population has increased fourfold since 1900. We were 1.5 billion. Now we are 5 times more than that, 7.5 billion. So in the last 120 years, our population has simply exploded, geometric explosion. What has that done to us? The UN Environment Chief Inger Anderson says, nature is sending us a message through coronavirus COVID-19. Our continued erosion of wild spaces has brought us uncomfortably close to animals and plants that harbor diseases that can jump to humans. Is that not a warning to us? Therefore, what I have thought about, and I would love to share this with you, I would also like to see your feedback on this. Instead of setting up new cities, why don't we set up eco-villages in rural areas? So that will give a boost to rural development as well. This will allow reverse urbanization or ruralization, if I may. Provide opportunities to live in harmony with nature. This is what will happen. See, people who are living in cities in very close proximity to each other, they will have more open areas to live. It will be regenerative. It will regenerate the environment. People who live there will be responsible. We all should be responsible for our own behavior and the consequences of our own actions, isn't it? This whole activity, the whole development will be sustainable and it will be built on values of harmony and compassion. Compassion not only towards our fellow human beings, but also towards our fellow beings and also the environment. These are the features of the eco-village which I envisage. The housing will be eco-friendly, of course, made out of eco-friendly material. There will be organic farming and dining. Energy sources will be renewable because we would like these eco-villages to be completely carbon neutral. Water will be reused and recycled. There will be dedicated green areas, including forests where feasible. We will have model educational institutions focused on curiosity of mind and aspiration of greater good. Okay, see, we all are a part of nature. We are not apart from it. Unless we understand this, nature will keep teaching us lessons. And how long are we going to remain in school? Are we not going to graduate? We will also have modern communication facilities. You see, going to rural areas, going in eco-villages does not mean that we go back to Stone Age. We do live in 2020 and want to go to 2021. So we should live like people who are in 2020 and 2021, but not lose our connection with Mother Nature. We will have innovation and incubation centers, community centers for health, well-being, cultural and spiritual pursuits, because human beings are not merely material beings. We are material, means body, mind and spirit. We are mental beings as well as spiritual beings. And unless all these things are nourished, we will not find fulfillment in life. This is a showcase project we are trying to build near Chennai. I will see if this will run. This video is only about 2 to 3 minutes. Hopefully it will run. All right. So the internet speed is what will slow this down a bit, but hopefully it will run in a minute. This is the last slide I have, and then I have some concluding remarks. So hopefully you will enjoy this. All right.
Where is home? Is it the city I live in, with my family of 4 in an apartment that we're paying through our noses to keep? This investment will take time to pay off, hopefully by the time we retire. Or is home where our parents live? Our safe havens, so to speak? I'm not really sure. We're not the only ones in this situation. I remember as a child, traveling on the train, staring on at vast expanses of land, filled with greenery, water bodies and fresh air in great abundance. I would always imagine what it would be like to run in those vast spaces, without the hassles of urban life. Now there's an opportunity to do just that, where we can create a space we can truly call home, where we can live fresh and free, a land we can restore, grow our own vegetables and grains that suit our needs. We can build an eco-friendly home. How about it? A home which cares for community and wildlife. We can also share our worldly skills with those who desperately need them. We will return to pesticide-free farming. This is the gift we can give our children. One that truly lasts lifetimes.
Dr. Vikram, actually the video is not visible because you might have selected the slide and the video must be in the back end. Only audio is playing.
Oh, ho, ho. Anyway, this is the link to the video. You are welcome to take a look at this, or this presentation will hopefully be available to anybody who wishes to access it, or otherwise they can contact me. I have a few concluding remarks. See, we need to rethink development models for human settlements. Can we change our perspective and live in harmony with nature? Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. These are my contact details. You're most welcome to send me an email or send me a WhatsApp message, and I'll be happy to respond to you.
Thank you, Vikramji, for your excellent presentation on the Eco Village. And many interesting questions have come for you as well. And one of the questions Nishant Seth, he has asked, that is, how economically viable is the reverse urbanization to the already unstable economy, which has taken a huge setback due to the pandemic? If people start moving back to the countryside, what about their jobs, livelihoods? Who would take responsibility for them? So this is a question from Nishant Seth.
Yeah. That's a good question. In fact, not everybody can move to rural areas, but those who are able to move to rural areas, they should move. A lot of people are working from home these days, are they not? So this is, of course, not for everybody. So the person who has a job in the city, who has to physically go to the office or go to work, that person will not be able to move to the rural area. I can assure you that the cost of living in a rural area is much less than it is in an urban area. So you will end up saving money. A lot of people have expressed interest in such kind of a lifestyle. And the example I wanted to show you, which actually ran on a different screen and not on the screen I wanted to share, that is being developed about, I would say, an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Chennai. So somewhere between Chennai and Pondicherry, we intend to develop such eco-villages all over the place in Bharat as well as around the world. These villages will have investors who would invest in them and the people who would invest in them and who would live there. So this will be a wonderful place to live for those who wish to live closer to nature. It may not be possible for everybody, I understand. But for those for whom it is possible, I'm sure it will be a fulfilling experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vikram. Now it is that, thank you for your talk and good answer to the query which is asked by our spectator. Okay, now it is the time to welcome Dr. Vishal Shinde, who is the Director Research, Specific Agri Research, San Luis in California area. And a few words about him. His topic will be the sustainable environment, charcoal and beneficial microbes to purify water bodies, fertilizer and drought. He is basically entomologist and works for development of pesticide products through evaluation and bioassay, both in labs and the greenhouses. He is involved in several bilateral collaborative projects with organizations, including in India. Welcome, Dr. Vishal Shinde. Now the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Namaste, everyone. I was wondering if you can see my screen and you can hear me well.
Perfectly all right. It is visible and you are also clearly audible.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, sir. So it's my immense pleasure here to talk in front of such a wonderful dais and wonderful dignitaries here. And thanks, sir, for introducing me this well. So I'm basically an agricultural scientist working in California since last 13 years. But my topic this time is a little bit different than pure agriculture. It's more like a sustainable environment, and it's related to use of activated charcoal. A trade name for it is biochar in combination with beneficial microbes to purify water bodies, as well as its incorporation in agriculture as a fertilizer and drought management tool. So the reason why I wanted to present this topic is I wanted to give you, like in few seconds, I wanted to give you a preamble regarding this. So what happened is recently in California, there is a water board, just like an environmental pollution control board back home in India. There is a water board, but it's related to agricultural water usage and it's related to agricultural water pollutions. So what they started doing is, from most of the farmers in certain areas, they are going there and collecting water samples from the streams, not from the bore wells or not from the wells, but water samples from the farms where the excess water goes out. And they realize that water has a lot of fertilizers, lots and lots of fertilizers. So eventually what's happening, that fertilizer is leaching down below in the soil, and it's getting really saturated in a groundwater, and somebody else away from it pokes a hole and pokes a bore well, that water comes out, and eventually they are ended up getting really hard water. So hardness of that water is too high, and adjacent to that specific area, eventually they have urban areas and towns and cities, and people are facing a lot of problems because of that hard water containing high concentrations of all kind of fertilizers. So of course that water is reusable for the farming, but that water is not limited to farming, it's going to the urban areas also, and they are facing hard water problems. So we are running some experiments for avoiding those leach outs and avoiding those problems. And what government or what water board did is they put a restrictions on a grower, saying that you cannot use more than X amount of fertilizers or nitrogen inside your fields. But nobody liked to eat yellow lettuce, everybody likes green lettuce, and they wanted to put more nitrogen to make it lush green. So eventually grower didn't listen. Now lot of government agencies started giving notices to the growers saying that enough is enough, here is a ticket for you, you got to pay for it, otherwise you got to reduce your fertilizer usage, and we wanted to see your logbooks, what you used to do before, what you are doing it now. So all of a sudden everybody wanted to mitigate, or everybody wanted to reduce fertilizer application usage, chemical fertilizer application usage in agriculture, but at the same time, they don't want to lose their yields. They don't want to lose the looks of the yield and production, as well as quality. So now everybody is trying to use biofertilizer, nitrogen fixing microbes, and all those kind of things. But here we did some kind of different experiment. So use of charcoals, how it can feel benefited into the farms, as well as how this use of activated charcoal helps to reduce the pollutions. So this was a preamble. So going back to actual topic here. So regarding this, let me see, where is the next button? Page up. Yeah, there you go. So this is about like water pollution. How can we reduce water pollutions by using this activated charcoal, and how we can use same charcoal after using in water bodies, or after using in not in farmlands, before using in farmlands, but after using in water bodies, use it in water bodies, pull out nutrients from it, and reuse it back in agriculture, so that can be utilized as a fertilizer or storage of fertilizer. So here is a basic idea about water pollutions and groundwater pollution. So why the water pollution happens, this is a more like an introduction. Everybody knows this, because of industrial wastes, leaching out through agricultural land, storm water spillage, misuse, and drainage. So what that contains, so most of those drainage water or industrial wastes or agricultural waste water, what it contains is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, pesticides. Of course, it contains everything, including fungicides, insecticides, and herbicides. Total petroleum hydrocarbons, chlorinated solvents, polychlorinated biphenyls, heavy metals. We know which heavy metals are those. And plant nutrients. So plant nutrients, basically, besides NPK, there are all kind of micronutrients are also there in those waste waters. So why they come in there? So first of all, they come out of agricultural land directly with water streams by leaching out. And the second thing is by the disintegration of plants. Plants tissues has those nutrients. They get disintegrated. They get out um, into the nature, and then they stream and they get into the water, and they are good, but they usually go back to the stream, or they go back to the ocean, and it's not useful to the growers back again. So what this biochar or this activated charcoal is, it's more like a carbon. It's a pure carbon, 97% pure carbon, fixed carbon, biochar produced from biomass under thermochemical processes. Biochar properties can be controlled by different feedstocks, means what kind of industrial wastes we are getting and what kind of adsorbents we need, so we can use different kinds of feed to make that kind of biochar. For example, X crops biochar can be used to get rid of industrial wastes, but some kind of different biochar can be used to get rid of NPK. So depending on what that water has, we got to use certain kind of specific biochar. So, of course, it increases moisture, water holding capacity of soil, and promoting healthy biological environment for years to come. So, after using to pull out the pollutants, we can use back them in agriculture, and then that can be used as a water absorbing agent as well as water holding agent, increasing water holding capacity of soil, and promoting healthy biological growth. So here, what it is this is a more like a structure of that a molecule, the carbon molecule or a biochar molecule, I would say. I won't go for this particle size and roughness and like a physical properties. So more about this biological properties. So it can be used as a bacterial fungal. It can hold bacterial and fungal communities, of course, good and bad. And also it has redox sites, and the surface area is always, of course, it matters. And you can see this is made from a clean waste, interior pore surface, because it's so fine, it has immense surface area. If you remember, sir, the previous talk was really regarding the rural developments. In rural areas, when I remember, when I used to be a kid, I used to brush my teeth with a charcoal. And I remember that's because, and later on I learned that that's because it has really good adsorption power. Finer it is, more surface area, better adsorption is. I'm not talking about absorption, but it's adsorption. So it has a great cation exchange capacity, which is what it requires for a healthy soil. It fixes carbon. Of course, the half-life of the carbon is way long. It's 500 years. And if you see, 1 cubic yard can hold 150 gallons of water without increasing the volume. And, 1 cubic yard is like take a 3 by 3 cubic foot of a box and fill that up. And that's more like a 1 cubic yard of an area. So what it does is, these are more like usages. After we use in industrial waste elimination, how can we use them in agriculture? So these are the usages in agriculture here mentioned: for soil improvement, improvement of crop yields, soil nutrition availability. So it increases the bioavailability of nutrients to the plants. So avoid soil leaching, nitrogen fixation, increase beneficial microbes, and soil liming, because it increases pH a little bit. So it's really good for acidic soils. Well, that was a real little introduction about that. But here, how it can be used to eliminate the pollutions. So here is a more like a diagrammatic presentation. This is a basin actually, where like small, what we call in India is like odas and nalas, and those more like streams and canals. And these are more like structures where water or wastewater or rainwater or storm water flows. So we should use this kind of product at the base of this basins to pull out the contaminants. So it contaminates, it removes the contaminants and increase water holding capacity of the soil around here. And of course, it provides nutrition. So how, in practical use, how did we do it? So that basin, this previous soil, so the previous soil, what we see, this was more like a diagrammatic presentation, and this is in real world. So here they are putting this tarp together, and they're spreading this charcoal around, and then put on the top of that, they are going to put more gravels. And here, for experiment purpose, we ran a pilot plant, or more like how it works. So these socks, you can see these socks, they have, and this more like bags, gunny bags, they have all kind of biochar filled into it, where the wastewater comes in here. And of course, there is no real filtration, but it hits here and it drops in this tank. What we did is we collected soil samples from water samples from here, and then we collected water samples from here. The dirtiest water we placed here, and here what we got, we can see on the next screen. So before we see that actual values of contaminants reduction, here is another use. So whenever there are water bodies near the towns, the wastewater or storm water flows and it meets to the river or small odas and nalas and those small canals. So before canal, we can lay this kind of bigger socks where water goes and water hits and it jumps into this streamline. So before it jumping into streamline, it eliminates most of the contaminants here, and you release a lot of cleaner water into the system. It would really help, actually, Honorable Modi ji's the Ganga cleanup program. So this was more like when I go many times back home in India, there are a lot of these kind of sewer systems are there. City West goes City West goes from this, and then they reach to the streams of river right outside the cities and villages. So what we did is we tried one of the sewer system or a drainage system. What we did is we poked a hole here and maybe like a 3 foot, and then we did. So this is during the construction of this or placing that hole. What we did is under these gravels we have placed bags of this kind of carbon or charcoal, and then put more gravels and cover with the soil again. So after, it's gonna look like this. So gravels, a plastic layer, and another set of, it's not plastic, I guess this is more like this plastic is gonna go on the other side, on right hand side, because this is during the construction. And after construction, this is how it's gonna be looking. So this wastewater coming from here, going through the gravels, and underneath these gravels, there are gunny bags, like more like this kind of socks of activated charcoal there. So it's sitting there and then going to the streamline, more like a rivers or wherever. And what we've seen is the water before. So we collected water from here and water from here. So, and here are the results. So chemical oxygen demand of like 3 different sites. One was 570, dropped down to 91, and 540 dropped down to 96, 2400 dropped down to 465. Similarly, it has a lot of ammonia in it, and you can see ammonia also, how tremendously ammonia has been dropped down. So where that ammonia went, that all ammonia was gotten adsorbed into those gunny bags containing biochar. So similar way, we collected another nitrogen analysis through total Jalda nitrogen. So in 3 different sites, and we ended up getting these results. Earlier, they were like 500, 500, 600, and eventually we got 80, 90, and 98 between like 20 foot of distance. Before entering into that area and after exiting from that area. So, and then there were other contaminants where what they were, you can see, I'm not a chemistry science person, but you can read this kind of chemicals. The contents were this high, and eventually they drop down way below, like almost below detectable levels. So within like few minutes, the question always comes is how long will it last? So I'm going to answer that question towards the end of this slide. So then, of course, this is not the only product or only biochar available in the market. There are a bunch of different products in the market, different charcoals in the market, but it all depends on particle size and depend of chemical structure and depending on what temperature it was cooled off and what is the cation exchange capacity of each product. So here was an analysis ran actually, and these are different products, and we figured out how much of absorption capacity of each of the product was, and you realize the biochar, this product has greater absorption capacity or contaminants elimination capacity basically. And these are the what they call polyacrylic alicyclic hydrocarbons. These were also tested, and where you can see these were in bigger numbers before, and after getting out of those streams, they really dropped down to smaller numbers. So these kind of bags can be used after exiting the industrial wastes, after exiting the water from our effluent system or before effluent system, and also before reaching out to our main streamline or rivers. Now, the question is, how can we use, so the part whatever we just discussed about was more like how can we eliminate contaminants from polluted water? But at the same time, how can we use same biochar for agriculture use? So for example, so these socks, whichever I showed you, those socks, we used it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year. After a year, these socks are saturated with all kind of nutrients and all kind of chemicals. So after that, we pulled out those socks, refilled with different carbon or different biochar, and the used biochar was analyzed for its nutrient content and contaminants contents, and realized it has a lot of fertilizers involved into it. So what we use is, instead of using chemical fertilizers, we use the same biochar into the agricultural system, just like a pre-plant fertilizer at the time of ground preparation or bed preparation. There was one way to use it. Second way was, since it has a really fine particle size, it potentially can be shooted out through the sprinkler irrigation system. And here we also tried it using it to the sprinkler system as well. But this was not on a crop. This was more like a lawn or a golf court we used it on. And what benefits we ended up seeing. So what we've seen here, you can see.
Vishalji, can you summarize in 30 seconds or something?
Yeah. So how much time it's been already?
It's almost finished. So if you summarize soon, that would be good.
Yeah. So 2 more minutes, sir. So the benefits which we've seen is the cation exchange capacity was increased really high. Then carbon content was high, and here you can see cation exchange capacity was increased, fertilizer efficacy was increased, nutrient leaching inside the ground was reduced a lot, crop production was increased by about 12 to 20%, methane emission was decreased, and all those kind of benefits we see. So in nutshell, it's more like a conclusion: soil improvement, improvement in crop yields, soil nutritional availability, which is we call as a bioavailability, was increased. nitrogen fixation was increased, beneficial microbe count was increased, and a lot of pesticides and heavy metals, which usually go down or leach down into the soil, they were all trapped inside those that specific carbon. Of course, the germination of seed was also quicker because of the water holding capacity increased. And the most important part was irrigation cycles, like biochar reduces water use by 20 to 40%, so which is a lot. So the main question, this is the last slide, sir. So main questions every time it comes is, okay, this is more like a column chromatography. When it saturates, then what? So then there is a system. What they did is they found out specific microbes which can break down specific harmful chemicals. So they analyzed that water samples before, and once they realize what the wastewater contains, they add specific kind of microbes inside those carbon. And then that can go to the actual usage, and those microbes can break down those chemicals which are trapped into it, and then it can last longer. That specific charcoal can last longer inside the socks, and it doesn't get saturated quicker. So this was all about this, and these are more like a couple of pictures I added into in the end. So earlier the water was like this, and it turned out into this. So thank you so much again for giving me an opportunity, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If not now, if it's too late, maybe in another session. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vishal. Can you please answer? Thank you.
Sarojji, let's move on to the next one because we can hold on the questions.
Right. I'm doing the same thing. Now this is time for, thank you for your excellent talk on the biochar. And now we'll go to Dr. Richa Godbole, who will be talking on abiotic stress mitigation for improving crop yields. So Dr. Richa Godbole is the CEO of Sally Crop International. And I'll just quickly introduce her. She is a plant molecular biologist with MS in biochemistry from University of Mumbai. She has done her doctoral and postdoctoral research in Germany and started her career with Syngenta. Based out of Mumbai, she currently advises corporate clients and a law firm in matters of technology in patenting activity of chemical, pharma, and agri-biotech industries. She helps them shape their strategies, innovation initiatives. She is the co-founder of a startup, that is Sally Crop in Israel, which is envisioned as a B2B operation in the climate-ready agriculture, abiotic stress mitigation space. They are working on crops such as rice in India and tomato, peppers, corn, wheat in Israel to test the commercial viability of their proprietary know-how, which enables the crop seeds to be cultivated under saline conditions or drought stress conditions. Dr. Richa, now it is your floor. Please start.
Namaste. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I assume that my screen is visible to everybody, and I'm also audible.
Very clear. Please go ahead.
So, Dr. Shinde has already gotten us all down from the sky to the earth, as it were. And I'm going to talk about my work, which is, really bound with a very small area of, crop cycle, but a very important area. So I'm going to talk about my startup called Sally Crop, which is founded in Israel. Now, Sally Crop is a startup which is bound by my own technology, and it has been commercialized in Israel. All of us know about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and the second goal therein is hunger. So, in order to address this particular goal, all of us, all of us are trying to bring either to uncultivable areas as well as use unsuitable water for producing food. So this is one of the ways we might be able to address this problem of hunger. So Sally Crop is working in this area. As you can see from my first slide, we've been working in India, we've been working in Israel, And we are trying to mitigate different abiotic stresses. Now, crop plants are subjected to a number of limiting factors during their crop cycle. And they can be, I mean, these abiotic stresses can be heat, drought, and salinity. So now just talking about salinity, the FAO estimates that $12 billion is the economic burden because of salinity all over the world. Now, in my slide, the areas where we face this challenge of salinity all over the world, as well as in India, is very clearly shown. So this is the sort of area which is affected. And this is the area where the crop yields are going down progressively because of increasing salinity. We could have similar maps about heat. Everybody talks about climate change and the patterns of atmospheric and the temperature aberrations. So, you could expand this theme, but I'm just sort of confining myself to this one slide with the salinity challenge. $12 billion is the offset that we have because of this just one abiotic stress. So the salad crop, what we do in salad crop is that our treatment, now this I'm showing a picture from last year. And as you can see, the salad crop treatment and control is shown in a farmer's field in a place called Masadvedi in Maharashtra. It's something like 100 kilometers down the coast from Mumbai. And we went to the farmer's field and we've been working with this farmer for the last 3 years. So at the vegetative stage, it's shown, if you look at this, right from the vegetative stage. I forgot to mention, this particular farmer's field actually is a salt pan. And because of the excessive rains that we have in the coastal region of Maharashtra, the salinity of that area comes down to bearable levels in the month of June after first few days of rain. So that's the only one crop season for that entire area, because that's the only time that you can have a salinity which even allows anything to grow. So in this salt pan area, you can see in the vegetative stage itself, the salad crop treated seed shows a difference in the shoot length and the root formation, and which results at the time of harvest, which results into this clear sort of an indication. So last year we had a yield increase of 16% in this particular area. Similarly, I'm showing you some work we are doing with wheat in Israel. So these are the latest pictures. And even here, you can see that, this picture was taken 2 days back, and this is drought. We are trying to mitigate the drought stress. And you see the difference between treated and control or untreated seed, that the vegetative growth itself is affected. And again, this point is underscored in this particular slide. So we're working on these crops. This is yet another study we did in Andhra Pradesh under the Tata Trust. And this was monitored by the Tel Aviv University. We found, here it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Now, this is the Godavari Delta, and there is a lot of shrimp farming happening there. And the farmers complain that there is a leaching of salinity across the shrimp ponds. And the farmers, the rice farmers, they lose yield because of that. There is a yield drop because of that. So we went in and we had our treatment. And this is the result that we have. This was just concluded during COVID time. This is the Rabi rice from Andhra Pradesh. So as you can see, Salicrop is working in India, in Israel with the farmers just to demonstrate the effectiveness of our technology. So coming to the process, I'm so sorry. Coming to the process, what do we do? How does it work? That's the one. Okay, our process is quite simple. We have a proprietary formulations. Remember, we don't have one master treatment, so to say. But we have to go into the details of the growing conditions of the crop or the variety and tailor make our treatment for that crop or variety. So we need a lead time with the seeds in order to come up with a viable, suitable treatment. And we also need information about the growing conditions of the soil, of the crop. So we have the formulation, we soak the seed. This is called the wet chemistry. I mean, anybody from the field of agriculture would know it comes very close to seed priming or seed coating, but it goes beyond seed priming or coating. We not only ensure that the germination is uniform and good, but we also ensure that our seed is better able to withstand abiotic stresses. So that is the Salicrop USP, so to say. So having said all of this, now, Salicrop, being an Israeli company, it will do whatever it wants everywhere in the world. But what we require in Bharat specifically is that we are at the stage where we are doing trials at the farmers' fields. And these are largely organized through NGOs or, very small scale. But the kind of coastline we have in India, and I showed you the map, which with the salinity challenges faced in various parts of India. So we need to grow from the village level to the national level as far as India is concerned. And we are looking for all the help that we can get through the government and agencies which distribute seeds in order to get there. So this is what I would request all of you to help us achieve. As far as the other professional growth of Salicrop goes, I mean, this is where we are, and this is where we plan to go. So this is our plan for the coming. I mean, we are getting a lot of inquiries from all sorts of, all the continents actually. But this is after all an Indo-Israeli startup. So we have a special place for India. I am in Bharat, so of course we want to grow in India and we want to be of use to India. And I would request all of you to help us get there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Richa. Can you answer, please? Thank you. Excellent presentation on the Salicrop products. So we'll take some more questions. But now I will hand over to our Professor Sasnath to start now the panel discussion, when we will be taking the questions also. I have noted down, so that over to Sasnath, please.
Yeah. So we are only 3 minutes over the time actually. So that's a very good. Everybody managed actually, plus minuses, a few minutes here and there. Arunji, we have lots of questions, so you take a lead. And Sarojji, maybe you can introduce Arunji actually a bit, and then we can take the questions and answers and we can go from there.
ओके मैंने जैसे पहले बताया था, अर्नी जी ने प्रोफेसर एंड डायरेक्टर लेबोरेटरी फॉर मैथमेटिकल मॉडलिंग, मेडिकल कॉलेज ऑफ जॉर्जिया, ऑगस्टा यूनिवर्सिटी, एंड ही इज excellent modeler par excellence, and in the medical college he has developed that app which all of us we are using today in India in the COVID-19 scenario. I think more about him. I think I would request Arniji, please speak something about your achievements, and please steer the question answer session. I have written down some questions, but we first listen about more about your works, then we'll come to the question answer. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sheshnathji and Dr. Barikji. In fact, I based on the talk slides I have, I already prepared a short points from the already talks that I would like to request Dr. Nandakumar to play. But before that, as Dr. Barikji mentioned, I've been working on the AI models for the COVID, and that was the first AI model with the mobile phone app that I published in the month of February 2020. And then it attracted a lot of news, and later that became many people, when I gave several webinars, they were saying that that inspired for Arogya Setu. But it's a great honor for me, Dr. I want to thank GIST, Dr. Rama Bansal, Dr. Mohit, and all at their team, and Dr. Eloji Rao, and then Dr. Srinivas Rao. They are all been organizers. So yeah, if they're ready, this slide I prepared before the session. I would like to Dr. Nandakumar to play that, and then I'm back again. I'll be back again soon. Namaste to all, and thanks to the co-chairs, Dr. Sheshnath Rai and Dr. Saroj Barikji, for wonderfully organizing the session, and to all the distinguished speakers who spoke on various aspects of their own research, their own contribution to the society, and their own research, and then how they can benefit the AI community and the agricultural farmers, everyone in India. And they have really explained all the aspects very well. And then the question answers will follow anyway. And then they have brought up the important issues of rural economy, and how AI, the modern technologies can bring they can improve the rural economy, and then the better way of farming, and then the environmental protecting the environment and various other aspects. And I would like to also highlight that this particular session brought the importance of the not only the IT sector role in the environment, and also the role of ecologists, and then the collaboration between the India and the other countries to enrich their own experiences, to share their own research, and then come up with new projects that can help the rural economy and the agricultural lands and the farming community in India. And I would like to summarize my comments with a few slides that I prepared based on the session presenters. Let me share my slides. So this session appropriately titled Modern Science and Technology Solutions, including AI for Agriculture. And the session covered topics by eminent experts and technocrats on the theme, and they discussed the cutting-edge technologies and collaborations between India and their respective countries, and then how that can be improved over the years. And they also proposed certain very specific policies and then the program implementation strategies. And the topics range in between the soil enrichment to the plants, and then the agricultural lands in India, the possibility of making AI-related products in India, and then how to make India as a AI giant. And the session also importantly highlighted the methods of purification of water bodies in the country, planning for drought management, and also experts also explained the various options of mutual collaboration in various aspects of bioinformatics, agricultural economy, and the role of artificial intelligence, and how the farming community can benefit using the modern technologies, and then the productivity, the product development within India itself. And then the recommendations for the government of India was to clearly state the industrial facilities for the AI-related manufacturing in the country, which already, of course, the government has done a lot of things already in the past several years about the communicating with the farming community, communicating with the scientists, they're extremely well. Government has done extremely well, and then the Make in India. So these all the AI product development could also come under the Make in India initiative. And then the Indian scientists and NRIs, the role of what could be how the NRIs can benefit by having a single window schemes, all that government has been wonderfully conducting. And then this session also highlighted the importance of further clarifying certain things by the government. And then myself also, I'm not a speaker here, but then very recently, I have been involved in the AI model development for the COVID. As I want to also thank the chair for informing about my AI model for the COVID, which later inspired for Arogya Setu. But then very recently, if you see in the December month, a lot of several hundreds of people were got certain symptoms, which the WHO and other the forensic labs in India, they confirmed that coastal areas of eastern coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh, other places, there were some people were hospitalized. Hundreds of people were hospitalized in the month of December. And then I had also after that, within my own network in the various institutes, the CSIR labs and the DBT institutes, I already started the discussions on how the AI modeling, what I'm doing, how we can collaborate on developing a national level, predicting the level of pesticides and contamination of vegetables across the country, so that we can also take the proper precautions for other aspects, other parts of the country. So with that, I would like to conclude the panel discussion. And I want to thank again all the distinguished speakers for their wonderful presentation. Namaste. Yeah, over to Dr. Sheshnath ji. You want to start, and then question answers? Who will? You want to ask, or Dr. Saroj ji will ask, or you can decide.
Saroj ji, maybe we start in the almost a similar order. I just texted you actually. So I start from the Prafulla ji. Saroj ji, you are mute.
Sorry. Yeah. So the first question to Prafulla ji is from Amjuri Vishwanath. How can we control to COVID-19 through AI?
This is a great question, and obviously Dr. Ernie can probably answer more about it. But AI is already a big part of the effort that has gone into fighting COVID pandemic. It starts right from the design of the vaccine, right from homology analysis, it's called, and it's a pharmaceutical term, and it's figuring out what is the similarity between this virus and other coronaviruses. The family of viruses is well known, and what kind of epitopes can be attacked. Right from there, all the way through diagnosis and kind of control and management of AI, of COVID. So for example, now we know that, the biggest super spreaders are indoor spread within where the air is not being circulated, right? And earlier, if you remember, in March or April, there was so much scare about touching, and there was so much scare about, and if you were even in the same vicinity, you can catch COVID and all that. And all these analyses have been done using AI. So I think the broader point is that AI is really a tool, like writing or like a computer, right? And it can be applied in so many different ways. It makes your job so much more powerful. And I have seen it apply in almost every facet of human life.
Thank you. The second question from Mr. Ramachandra. What is the most popular programming language used in AI?
Right. And so this is a very specific question. I'll take the liberty of sharing my contact details. Again, many of you have already written to me, and many of you have added me on LinkedIn. I will share it in 1 minute. So please do that if you don't get your questions today. The most popular language is Python. It is very easy to learn. It is very kind of from zero to making AI programs. You can go very, very quickly. It is not the only language being used. There are other languages like Java, which are being used as well.